taken by Whittaker. McLeish's header.
And there goes the half-time whistle. Hearts 0, Aberdeen 0, but a very entertaining first half, with Joe Miller coming close on a couple of occasions for Aberdeen. Sandy Clark doing likewise at the other end for Hearts. Aberdeen perhaps having the edge in the first half, but still a tremendous second half in prospect. And when you rejoin us after the break, Arthur Montville will present highlights of the Milk Cup final at Wembley. Castle, both sides are on the field just waiting for referee Bob Valentine to come out to get the second half underway. So a first half with no goals, Aberdeen looking to be in command for long stretches. Billy, 29 games without defeat Hearts have got. It's your first look at them. What are your impressions?
Well, to be honest with you, Jock, perhaps I was expecting too much, but they've disappointed me somewhat. I would have thought a team at the top of the Premier League, champions elect as it were, I'd have thought they'd have showed an awful lot more poise than they're showing just now. They look a scrapping team. They look as though they want to feed off Sandy Clark and John Colquhoun and John Robertson, gain something off it. But they haven't really settled, they haven't really dominated this game as much as I might have expected them to.
But still right there on course for the championship, and looking very dangerous if they get forward with these front three. But Aberdeen at the same time looked very impressive for good spells in that first half. So a free kick to start the second half for Hearts. George Cowie will take it, waiting for Levine to sprint forward to join the attack. And the sun has come back out again here to make the occasion all the more attractive. Willie Miller's header. Again, the Hearts supporters thought that Sandy Clark was harshly dealt with. It's now with Weir. Jardin's clearance goes straight for the Aberdeen throw. There's the Hearts assistant manager. John Hewitt. Now McMaster to Mitchell. One or two of those lesser known Aberdeen players have been very impressive this afternoon. Joe Miller for a start, 18-year-old striker. Brian Mitchell also has had a fine match at right back so far. It certainly looks encouraging for Aberdeen with so many of their first team squad out through injury. Good layoff from Colquhoun. Mackay challenged by McKimmie. Neil Berry also challenged by McKimmie. McMaster so effective with these first touches, these first time passes. Hewitt to Weir. McQueen goes on the overlap. Near post ball, Neil Berry is there as he is so often for Hearts. What a job he does, the former Bolton Wanderers player. Miller survived these appeals for handball from the Hearts fans. Peter Weir's cross, there's Jim Bett. Get back to Miller and still the Hearts goal survives. But once again Hearts under extreme pressure and Aberdeen can't find the net. Hearts now getting the ball away, but that could so easily once again have been a goal for Aberdeen. McKimmie and Berry clashing, and it's McKimmie who'll be in trouble with the referee. Referee Valentine having a word after that clash with Neil Berry, the Hearts number 5. Stuart McKimmie has been an important man in midfield for Aberdeen. But that really was a great move with Peter Weir's cross from the left, Billy.
Yes, Peter Weir's an exciting player. When he's in flight, Jock, he's very, very difficult to stop. It was a beautiful back post ball, and I'll tell you, Hearts lived very, very dangerously there, just as they have done throughout the game as far as I'm concerned. It's very much like the start to the first half, Jock, that Aberdeen looked like the team with more definite ambitions on winning.
But 2-0 in bookings for Aberdeen. That's Stuart McKimmie joining John McMaster, who was booked in the first half. Here's John Colquhoun. Well, Colquhoun is so positive when he gets a chance to run at defences, trying to create a shooting opportunity here once again. Crowded area outside the penalty box. Colquhoun coming forward, taking the return from Robertson. The shot going wide. Black's header. So the sun disappears. John McMaster takes the throw for Aberdeen. Miller under pressure from Whittaker and from Mackay. It's now with Berry for Hearts. Cahoon's first time ball finds Mackay. It's wrong-footed Alec McLeish. Here's Sandy Clark. Good play from the Hearts centre forwards. And a fine, swift move through the middle from Hearts. A feature of the play this season. Mackay's pass picked up by Clark, attacking Willie Miller, seeing a shooting chance and couldn't get it on target.
Good fluent move from Hearts, Jock. One of the real fluent moves I've had throughout the game, but maybe that set the tempo for something better from him. But it was a nice move, and at the end of the day, the shot was too high, but at least it was a shot going towards the target.
Well, Sandy Clark battling back with a challenge there on Ryan Mitchell. Well, the Aberdeen fullback with the throw. Miller holding off Whittaker. Here's McMaster. McQueen lets it run for Weir. Cowie very close to him again. And plenty of cover for Cowie, provided by Cahoon and Jordan. So John Hewitt is penalised for doing a bit of pushing as the ball was being played towards him. So that ends another Aberdeen attack and gives Sandy Jordan a chance to take a short free kick, I think, from Henry Smith. Good clearance that from Smith. Weir's header. Hewitt playing it towards Weir. Taken out of the play by Sandy Jordan, who acknowledges the foul immediately. This is all a question of timing and a bit of extra pace injected by Peter Weir, going towards the ball. Got to it first. Jordan was totally committed, and a clear foul. Free kick taken short. Here's Weir. Still making room for himself to send the ball over. Running into George Cowie, and the free kick's been given. Well, I think perhaps Peter Weir is shade fortunate to get that verdict, Billy.
Yes, actually I thought it was the other way about, Jock, to be honest with you. But the referee's he's handled the game well, Bob Valentine, and we can't criticise one possible mistake. Yeah, I definitely think that he erred in favour of Aberdeen there.
So Weir's free kick headed away by Jordan. McMaster sending it forward again. He reacted to a call, I think, from Willie Miller, who wanted it played into that area of the field to break the offside trap being sprung by the Hearts defence sprinting out. So Henry Smith, the goal kick. Cowie tackled by McQueen. And a fierce challenge and a fair one again by Cowie. Still making life very hard for Peter Weir. Leash still winning these high balls. Kimmy playing it to Weir. Kimmy checking inside from Berry. Now Weir. Bet popping up on the far side, letting it run for the corner kick. The trouble with these crosses, though, from positions other than the byline, there's no Eric Black in attack for Aberdeen, just Miller and Hewitt, two small strikers, but now joined by Alec McLeish, and in the far corner of the box by Willie Miller. No challenge for Berry. McKimmie trying the first time pass back towards Hewitt. McKimmie appeared to be barged into by Kenny Black. But that free kick brought Alec MacDonald to his feet from the dugout. Clearly took a different view from referee Bob Valentine. Now Mitchell. Bet, after a very impressive start to the match, hasn't been quite so influential, Jim Bet. Mitchell again. Up goes McLeish. Here's Weir. Tom McQueen arriving, but a shade late perhaps, showing a lot of strength in the tackle with Clark.
And McQueen did well to win that corner kick for Aberdeen. Cowie was hoping to let the ball run for the goal kick, but Donald McQueen, the former Clyde fullback, showing a lot of determination, now taking the short corner. Weir flights it across. And apart from Alec McLeish, there really aren't too many threats in the box for Aberdeen for high balls in like that. There's Black. And now Robertson. Bet doing well, getting back to support his defence. Oh, good play from Miller and from Bet. Miscue by McLeish. Mitchell steps in for Aberdeen. And a foul given against John Hewitt. A bit of backing into Craig Levine. Well, Hewitt making his point to the referee, but it won't change the decision. Brian Whittaker with a free kick. So 10 minutes now into the second half, still no scoring here at Tynecastle. Chested down by Clark, and the first time volley came from Kenny Black. Another vital man in this Hearts machine in the left side of midfield. Good control from Whittaker. Clark again, tackled instantly by McKimmie. And now Cowie with space for Hearts. Again looking for the head of Sandy Clark. McLeish is the winner once more, and McQueen's header falling into space with Levine first to the ball. Robertson back towards Clark, now Cahoon. Gary Mackay is there also. And as happens so often, it's Willie Miller who comes clear with the ball. Well, there's the value. Neil Berry couldn't be clearer for that fast, incisive tackle on Peter Weir. Levine. Willie Miller's header. Well, Hearts throw on the near side, and I'm sure Hearts will not be unhappy to keep on level terms as the match goes on. They've won a fair number of matches late on this season, Hearts. And a draw even this afternoon would not be a disaster as far as their championship chances are concerned. Jim Bett. McMaster shows great awareness, John McMaster. He appears to know where everyone is around him. Now Weir. Cowie again doing well. And good control from Weir. Well, what a dogged character George Cowie is at fullback for Hearts. Just won't give Weir any space or peace at all. What? It's an Aberdeen corner kick. They haven't made too much use of these corner kicks so far this afternoon. Tommy McQueen was offering to take the short one, but McLeish signalling for a high ball. Goes in from Weir, played away by Clark. The offside flag was up on the far side. A free kick to Hearts, the Aberdeen strikers. A bit slow in coming out of the box. Cowie stepping inside Hewitt. This is Levine. Black has Whittaker on the far side in space. Sandy Clark under pressure from the back from Willie Miller, and the referee thinks the pressure was unfair, so a free kick's been given. It'll have to be taken again. Well, Willie Miller making his point to the referee, but this is a promising situation for Hearts. Right at the corner of the box, John Robertson hovering around the penalty spot area.
Berry at the edge of the box. Will be the left foot of Kenny Black to send the free kick in. Miller's header. Miller under the fiercest pressure from Kenny Black. Down goes Kahun. And Kahun reacting very angrily to Miller's challenge. Referee Valentine right in the thick of the action. Here was Miller put under pressure by Kenny Black initially. It was a powerful challenge by Black. Miller's on the deck. Kahun now stepping in. And it's Kahun who's brought down by the Aberdeen's captain. So referee Valentine calms things down and gives Hearts the free kick. A lot of encouragement now for the Tynecastle men. Driven ball from Whittaker. Beats everyone, allows Weir to make the clearance for Aberdeen. And that's turned out by Kerry. It swerved in again, but the linesman's flag was up.
Hearts have never been able to exercise enough pressure on Aberdeen. They've never been in control of the game for a long time, Jock. And one very important fact, I think, is John McMaster's come out almost out of retirement as well. But he's had a superb game. He's controlled the midfield. His passing been first class. And he looks as though he should never have been off the field. Looks absolutely magnificent yesterday.
So Stuart McKimmie was penalised on that occasion, giving Hearts a free kick again, and certainly Hearts beginning to build up some momentum and some pressure in the Aberdeen defence. Cowie flights it in. Up goes Levine. Breaks now for Mackay. Mitchell's clearance. Master doing well, getting his head to the ball. And the bet lofts it forward, but into touch for a Hearts throw in. So we're into the final half hour of the match now. Still no scoring. A free kick to Hearts, a push on Sandy Clark. The game hasn't really flowed yet in the second half. Aberdeen made a fast start, but Hearts are now battling back, and McLeish beating Clark for high ball. There's Berry. Up goes McQueen. Cowie's header. There's John Kahun trying to find space for a shot. So is John Robertson. Berry again. Clark was up with Mitchell. And Brian Gunn reacting angrily to the challenge from John Kahun. Willie Miller did too, and you see Brian Gunn very angry indeed. Well, there's not much doubt here. Clark get his head to the ball. Appears to be going back safely to Brian Gunn. Kahun's enthusiasm carrying him right in the keeper. Well, certainly didn't do much damage to Gunn, but the young keeper was certainly not at all happy with the challenge. And the referee has given a free kick to Aberdeen. Whittaker's header. Robertson looking for Kahun. Willie Miller is there for Aberdeen. Now the loose balls appear to be falling to Many Maroon. So often the first half it was the other way around, but here's McMaster for Aberdeen. Fine pass again to find Hewitt. Charlton getting in behind George Cowie to provide the cover. Aberdeen throw will be taken by McQueen. Good control from Hewitt. Levine in the right position to intercept. Robertson, McQueen. McKimmie wins it for Aberdeen, and Hewitt is offside. Well, they certainly had plenty of space on the left, but not much doubt about that. He was a couple of yards offside. Well, certainly no question that Aberdeen are here to mean business, I think, Billy.
Well, they're certainly not making things easy for Hearts. To me, they're by far the better team, to be honest with you, Jock. You know, a neutral would assume that, as far as I'm concerned, that Aberdeen were the team pushing for the championship and not Hearts. Hearts really haven't put the game together at all, and consequently we haven't seen an awful lot of goal-scoring attempts from them.
Queen's header. Weir again under intense pressure from Cowie. A well-timed challenge from Mark McLeish. Hearts fans now trying to get behind the favourites. And Clark quite deliberately winning the throw off the shins of Tommy McQueen. And he's aware that Neil Berry is capable of a long throw. So it's Clark, the near post area. McLeish was with him. And there was a bit of barging by John Robertson into the back of Willie Miller. And the referee is going to have words with the Aberdeen goalkeeper and the captain, Willie Miller. Well, Brian Gunn appears to have been guilty of saying something. Must have been dissent, I think. He was spoken to a moment ago, of course, Brian Gunn. Let's see this again. The throw was played in. McLeish put his head to the ball, spiraling high in the air. There was Gunn bumping into Robertson as Miller headed the ball away, and Gunn reacting angrily to John Robertson. That's why he was in trouble.
Bit silly, Jock, to be honest with you, because the danger had been cleared, and if he gets himself involved with players, the referee's bound to take action against him at some stage.
So Ian Jordan has come on for Hearts in midfield. And Gary Mackay is off. So Jordan certainly has been something of a lucky basket this season to Hearts. And he'll add some strength to that midfield area. A little bit of reorganisation too with Jordan on the right side of midfield, with Berry moving across to the left. Or into the central midfield area with Kenny Black on the left. And that perhaps is a compliment, Billy, to John McMaster. Neil Berry appears to be delegated the task of keeping McMaster's passes to a minimum.
Well, I think it is a compliment to him. I feel he's had a superb game, Jock. Really, Aberdeen have controlled the midfield, and Hearts have never been able to establish a grip there, and consequently they haven't been able to set up as many attacks as they would have liked.
Ian Jordan's throw. Return from Clark. McMaster. Joe Miller couldn't control it. It's gone for the Hearts throw. And Hearts now perhaps sensing, after being really under a collar for a long spell in the match, perhaps sensing that victory could be achieved once again. Building up some attacking pressure. Here's Levine. And the Aberdeen defence coming out, catching John Cahoon offside. So we're midway through the second half. We're going into the final quarter of the match. Still no scoring. And Hearts becoming more of an attacking force as the match wears on. Willie Miller's header. Ian Jordan. And Sunday Clark appeared to be yards offside, but the linesman's flag stayed down with McQueen in possession. Now Weir. Taking on Cowie on the outside. Well, that was certainly a bit clumsy. George Cowie clearly has decided he must stay very close to Weir. On that occasion, he was well out of range when he made the body check. So Weir's near post ball. There's John Hewitt. Good effort on the turn from Hewitt. He just closed down the angle too much. So Hewitt had a marvellous start to the season for Aberdeen, found the net 10 times, then was bothered with injuries for a long period. And there will be a change now for Aberdeen. It's John Hewitt, in fact, who's going off, and the replacement is Eric Black. So Black, of course, can add a new dimension to the Aberdeen attack with his prowess in the air.
Kenny Black sending it all the way back to Henry Smith. So Black trying to get on the end of that header from Brian Mitchell. Eric Black apparently was fit enough for 90 minutes, according to manager Alex Ferguson before the match. He said he just left him out with no explanation. It suggests perhaps he wasn't entirely happy with the young striker's form. Here's Cahoon turning inside. Misfortune there for Hearts as Clark and Cahoon collide. And Gunn sending the long ball forward. Header from Black. So 20 minutes of the match left, still no scoring, and Hearts still trying to get forward as much as possible. Here's John Cahoon. Jordan. That's come off the legs of Willie Miller for corner kick. So Kenny Black now with the corner kick. The in-swinger. And a wasted effort from Kenny Black. Well, that's a chance that Hearts will be sorry to have missed. They could so easily have kept the pressure on Aberdeen. Eric Black signalling for the goal kick. Clark with a layoff. Willie Miller underneath that pass from Kenny Black. Here's Mitchell. And now McMaster making space again in midfield. Oh, fine play again from McMaster. Joe Miller. Going inside Levine. Shielding the ball well. Gets help on the left from Weir. There's always a man behind George Cowie when Weir has possession. Back from Miller to McQueen. Jim Bett wants it inside. Aberdeen tremendously patient in the build-up. Willie Miller gets the special treatment from the Hearts fans, the boos and whistles, which I'm sure simply inspire him to greater efforts. Miller doing well for Aberdeen. There's Jim Bett. Played away, appeals for handball, and the referee is coming across. Now, what is the decision? It looks as though it may well be a penalty kick. Yes, the penalty kick has been given for handball, and Jim Bett was in the act of directing the ball towards goal. Let's see it again. There's the ball played across. It appeared to be handled there by Ian Jordan. The referee didn't make a meal of it, pointing quite calmly to the spot. Sandy Jordan can't believe it. The protests continue. But in the end, it's a penalty kick to Aberdeen. And what a vital moment in the Premier Division title race. It looks like Peter Weir to take it. He hasn't taken one for Aberdeen this season in the first team. It's been Tommy McQueen, Frank McDougall or Jim Bett in the past, but it's Peter Weir against Henry Smith. It's in the net after a valiant effort from Henry Smith, and Aberdeen are in the lead. 28 minutes into the second half, and there are the Aberdeen supporters jubilant behind Brian Gunn's goal. Well, now just look at this effort here from Henry Smith. Right into the corner, and Smith appeared to get a hand on the ball. Well, that was a tremendous effort from the goalkeeper.
I don't think Hearts can really say that Aberdeen are not entitled to be in front, Jock. They've been the better side. It's disappointing perhaps it was a penalty kick, but what a tremendous effort the goalkeeper had to try and stop it going in the net. But to be fair, Aberdeen are entitled to be in front at this stage.
Well, Willie Miller tackled by Ian Jordan. Miller is on the ground, and I think he may take a little bit of time on the ground to calm things down. Hearts very anxious to get back into play. And here's how it happened as Miller came across the bows of Jordan to take the ball to safety, and the late tackle clearly by Jordan. The free kick's been given, and now Hearts getting support from their fans behind the goal at the other end, the Henry Smith goal. So 30 matches they've gone, facing defeat for the first time in that run, and of course putting the title race back in the melting pot. So Willie Miller now getting the magic spray treatment. The sponge is now long gone. Well, how do you think Aberdeen will play out the closing 15 minutes, Billy?
Well, the thing about Aberdeen, Jock, they've got the two first-class defenders at the back there. They won't allow themselves to be under too much pressure, and they've controlled the game from midfield, and they've played it nice and slowly, and they've taken a whole lot of zest out of Hearts. They've taken a whole lot of sting out of the game. In actual fact, I think they'll be quite happy to sit back and keep the game going as it is.
There's McQueen, and there's the scoreline now. Quarter of an hour left. Aberdeen in the lead, and Hearts desperate to get back in the match. Here's Brian Whittaker. Cahoon doing well to get it back to Berry. Cahoon again. Jardine. And I'm sure we'll see the Hearts spirit clearly demonstrated in this closing spell. They've been behind quite a few times in their tremendous run, and they've come back to save the match or get a victory. So it's no new experience for them to be behind, although in fairness, being behind against Aberdeen with so little time to go is a very difficult task indeed. Black tackling Levine. There goes John Cahoon on the left. Sandy Clark turning it behind, and that's a goal kick. Well, frustration for Sandy Clark as Aberdeen get the goal kick. And we've had the attendance figures for the match this afternoon, and the crowd here at Tynecastle is 19,047, and that compares with the first match this season between the clubs here at Tynecastle when the gate was 12,900. So just under 20,000 inside the stadium, and of course the vast majority supporting Hearts. So Smith's clearance as the Hearts fans chant, "We're going to win the league." And in fairness, they may well do, even if they lose this afternoon. They still have the edge, still leave them relatively a point better off than Dundee United, with a couple of matches left. 13 minutes to go. Hearts 0, Aberdeen 1. McMaster is calmness personified in that midfield. Tremendous use of the ball. The layoff from Black. Bet couldn't take it in his stride. Well, no question about that free kick. Kenny Black acknowledged it. So Aberdeen calming things down, settling in the lead. And Willie Miller comes up to take the free kick towards Eric Black. Head flick on, and Whittaker is there with the clearance. Play waved on despite that clumsy looking joust between McLeish and Robertson. Now it's with Cahoon, and he caught back very deep. Willie Miller coming to attack the ball and make the clearance. It's Jardine to Cowie. Here's Levine. Header on from Berry. Now McQueen. Everyone inside that Aberdeen half. No question, we're in for a torrid closing spell in the match. Hearts pull out all the stops now to save the game. Eric Black take it for a run, I think, on the right. Looping the ball across, and Henry Smith's handling once again is impeccable. There goes Cahoon. Back to help out in midfield to support that area of the field. John Robertson had just gone offside, so it's going to be a free kick to Aberdeen. Brian Mitchell's gone down on the far side. There's John Robertson, who was the man who caught offside. And referee Bob Valentine will not allow a stoppage for treatment for Mitchell, who's still on the ground. There he is, being helped up by Willie Miller. And clearly the referee is not satisfied that the injury is genuine enough to halt play. Black's header, Miller was offside. The flag was up on the far side, but there was the ability of Eric Black in the air, very evident, and Miller's sharpness on the sprint through to get on the end of it.
You know, Jock, looking at the match, Hearts certainly need some inspiration from somewhere, and looking at the team, it's almost as if they don't believe in themselves anymore. It's difficult to see where that inspiration is going to come from, but they certainly need a spark about them at this stage.
Yes, it's going to be a difficult time to the end of the match, and they've got to throw on the far side for the moment. That's Colin McAdam warming up just behind Brian Whittaker, just sitting down now, the second Hearts substitute. So 10 minutes left for play. There's the scoreline. Can Hearts save the match? Well, there can be no doubt at all they will provide 100% effort during that period. Eric Black was pushed. The ball was in the air. That's a free kick to Aberdeen. There goes Bet, followed by Berry. Now Joe Miller. Mitchell, tackled by Sandy Clark. It's a very composed performance indeed from Aberdeen. And certainly it's a great deal for their pride, Billy, that they can turn it on in circumstances where their championship chance is gone.
Well, that's right, Jock. They've come down here knowing that Hearts were all set for a victory, and they've calmed, they've taken this thing out of the game, they've played nice, calm football, and they've played effective football because, you know, they've controlled the game, dominated it midfield, and really deserve to be in front.
John McMaster having a run all on his own there, but here's a chance for Hearts, and there'll be trouble here for Alec McLeish. John Cahoon furious with that tackle, and of course he has every reason to be furious. There's trouble here for McLeish. Now this is what is called, erroneously in my view, a professional foul. Hearts certainly had an opportunity there. Cahoon was free and a lot of pace. The Hearts certainly had hopes of a goal there, and I wonder if referee Valentine will be content with a yellow card. Yes? Well, the Hearts fans clearly wanted the red one to be displayed to McLeish. Well, I'm sure Hearts will feel very badly done by on that occasion. Booking for McLeish, certainly no consolation. And before the free kick is taken, there will be a second substitution for Aberdeen. Off goes Brian Mitchell, who took that knock earlier on, and the replacement coming on, 19-year-old Ian Robertson. He played against Dundee United midweek for his first match in the Premier League, and now coming on for his second. McKimmie. Peter Weir. An awkward bounce, the ball arrived at Robertson. Levine lofting it forward, there's McLeish getting the treatment from the Hearts fans. Tommy McQueen under pressure from Cahoon. That's a free kick to Aberdeen, and Cahoon certainly trying everything he knows to turn the tide Hearts' way. It's a pity about that, Billy. That foul by McLeish tainting an otherwise splendid Aberdeen performance.
Well, to be fair, Jock, it's a professional foul, as you said. I don't think there was anything malicious about it. It wasn't a tackle that was going to damage the player, but it was an effective foul, you know, from what could have been a dangerous situation.
Bet laying it back for McKimmie. The reorganisation, of course, of the Aberdeen side, seeing McKimmie going to right back with Robertson taking his place in midfield. Kenny Black. Now with Levine. McKimmie, having been so effective in midfield, now back at his customary role right back. Back now with Brian Gunn. It looks as though Aberdeen are determined to do their defending inside the Hearts half wherever they can.
Well, this is when their experience throughout Europe and throughout the campaigns in this country as well, Jock, will hold them in good stead. They're very steady and they're very confident in the back. They're very determined. They'll hold on. They'll make life difficult for Hearts.
Hearts trying to get forward again. 6 minutes left. Willie Miller took a knock on the challenge with John Robertson. Still Hearts in possession. Craig Levine. Here's Cahoon. Queen is with him. There's Ian Robertson. McQueen's overhead clearance. Now Cowie. Joe Miller held off. Bet with a good tackle on Berry. It breaks for Jordan. Aberdeen pulling everyone back into defence. An intelligent header that by McLeish, wide towards safety rather than heading it out to that area outside the box. There's McLeish driving forward, winning the throw off Neil Berry. So McLeish goes back and it'll be Stuart McKimmie with the throw. Kenny Black. Sandy Clark back to Whittaker. Willie Miller lets it run for Brian Gunn. John Robertson was closing in very quickly, and that's a good piece of understanding there between Miller and Gunn. They haven't played so very often together in the Aberdeen defence, but Miller read that well. Black challenging Levine. So now Henry Smith. Clark leaping early and controlling it for Berry. There's Cahoon. Good tackle by McQueen. Still Cahoon battling for Hearts. George Cowie. Robertson. Berry. The tackle came from McMaster. Bet is number 10 for Aberdeen. A throw given by the referee as the ball hits the corner flag from McKimmie's tackle. So a throw right at the corner flag for Hearts. Brian Whittaker again capable of a long ball inside. Sandy Clark waiting. A header again from McLeish. That's Peter Weir back helping in defence. Bet. Pumping the ball forward. There's no taker for Aberdeen, and Jordan has lots of time to set up another Hearts attack. Appeals for offside with a chance. And the equaliser! John Cahoon for Hearts. And there's the spirit of Hearts for all to see. 3 minutes left for play. The long ball forward from Sandy Jordan. Aberdeen tried to play an offside trap. McQueen was there with Robertson. McQueen's clearance falling for John Cahoon, and there's the finish, which ties it up at 1 apiece.
It's an amazing old game, Jock, isn't it? Just when you think Hearts are dead and buried, up they come, up they pop, and they get a goal out of nothing. Aberdeen just a little bit casual at the back with offside, but you've got to hand it to Hearts. They haven't been in the game at all, and now they're back in level terms.
Well, we've seen it so many times before. Hearts coming back when it looked as though the game was running away from them. Eric Black trying a long-range effort, and the scarves are now flying all around Tynecastle. There they go, the maroon and white, and how these Hearts fans are savouring the moment. Well, that's become the norm this season at Tynecastle, to celebrate a goal. John Cahoon's 10th of the season, incidentally, and so many of them have been crucial for Hearts. And Aberdeen paying the penalty. There's the scoreline. Aberdeen paying the penalty, but trying to spring an offside trap. They haven't done that very often in the match. Down goes Sandy Clark as Cahoon goes forward, and you can be sure that Hearts will not even be content with a draw. They'll be looking for the winner. Here's Jim Vett. Good tackle by Whittaker. Late challenge by Bet. The referee allows play to go on, thinking there may have been an advantage as Bet and Whittaker clash off the ball. The referee will now be taking some action. Sandy Jordan trying to calm down Whittaker. But there's trouble here for Jim Bet. Well, he was guilty of a late tackle. The referee tried to allow the game to flow. He tried to give the advantage. And now he's pulled it back for booking. And the Hearts song breaks out around Tynecastle. There's Jim Beck, the third Aberdeen player to be booked. The fourth rather, I think. The Hearts getting forward again, the clearance from McKimmie. There goes Joe Miller, beaten by Levine. That's for Sandy Clark. McLeish is the winner. McKimmie sent spinning by John Robertson. So Aberdeen have the free kick. Well, what a dramatic end to the match. And it looked as though Aberdeen had the match sewn up. Hearts come to life again. There's John Cahoon, the man who got the vital goal. He's worked tirelessly for Hearts this afternoon. They're going into time added on for stoppages now. Levine's header. So 30 games without defeat, it appears now for Hearts. What an incredible record. Here's Joe Miller. McQueen on the overlap, trying the early ball in. It's watched carefully out of the sun by Henry Smith. Now that could have been troublesome for the Hearts keeper. Hasn't had a lot to do in the last 20 minutes or so, and that came from the sun, although he wasn't under pressure. Jordan plays it back. Oh, what a roar, I'm sure will greet the final whistle. And it's blown any moment now by Bob Valentine. So here's Eric Black. Now Betts. Blocked by Kenny Black. There's Miller. And a chance for young Ian Robertson to make a name for himself. Snatched that left foot effort. Well, it's behind for the goal kick, and that may well be the last scoring attempt of the match. Henry Smith now not in such a great hurry. And that goal from John Cahoon transforming the occasion as far as the Hearts fans are concerned. And there goes the final whistle, greeted with an almighty roar by the Hearts fans. Alec MacDonald makes for the tunnel. Well, Billy, what a turnaround.
Well, it was an incredible result, really, Doc, but great opportunity goal by John Cahoon, and I felt he was the one Hearts player who sparkled a bit.
So here's the goal which made these Hearts fans so delirious. Ball played forward by Jordan. It was Robertson with McQueen. It was McQueen, in fact, who got straight to the ball. John Cahoon sprinting in the first time volley, and that is the goal which may well yet win the league championship for Hearts. So the scene around Tynecastle, a jubilant one as the Hearts fans celebrate. What an occasion. John Cahoon makes it one apiece. And with that, we hand you back to Arthur Montfort in the studio.